What is going on, guys? Joey here. Joey Franzel here with Flex Training Systems, right? Gotta do the intro, right? And today I want to talk a little bit about just kind of learning from adversity and setting real expectations for yourself. Um, this topic just kind of like came to me. I know I've talked about it before in the past, but I recently finished Vinland Saga, and something crazy happened in that show, and it reminded me of something that I do with my lifters to help get them to where they need to go. So I wanted to kind of share that with you guys. Also, dealing with adversity, setting reasonable expectations. Just a lot of people around me are going through something, and they're just not where they want to be. Some of these people I don't even work with. So I figured this video can just really help because everybody goes through ups, everybody goes through downs. There are many different aspects to being a great powerlifter, and I think this is the kind of video where if you can take this and apply it to yourself, I think it's just gonna make everything runs so much smoother, and you're gonna have a lot less angst in your life. And we also have some meet day stuff in here also that I kind of want to talk about. But basically, I guess we use the first example. So, I'm setting up numbers for somebody for meet day, right? And sometimes, let's say I'm having someone compete for the first time, and I ask them for the information that I need, and then I build their plan for meet day. I build their plan for meet day, and let's say like we're not talking about nationals, we're not talking about any meet with cash on the line. It's simply a local competition, a regional competition, whatever, right? Usually, coming into those things, the lifter will put a lot of unnecessary stress on themselves, and they'll have a very high expectation of what they want to hit. More often than not, if it's a newer person that I'm working with, they're either, I mean, it's actually 50-50. It's usually they're like, okay, Joey, I'm gonna do what you say, or it's gonna be like, but like, can I add a little bit more on top of that if I'm feeling good or whatever, because they want to leave the possibility open that they could potentially hit this like dream number. Um, but I tell them I'm pretty accurate when it comes to planning meet day, and it's very rare that someone's just gonna blow everything up unless I'm intentionally being safe. Um, because let's say, like for example, you guys saw Jesus, he just competed a while back, and like he could squat over 800, and I just wanted to be safe to make sure he didn't hurt himself. I wanted to set some good numbers for us to beat for the next time and stuff like that. Um, but that's like one case. Anyway, let's say there's a discrepancy in numbers, right? Let's say the lifter thinks I'm kind of lowballing them, and then, but in my head, I'm like, okay, the numbers that they want they're possible. I think it could happen. Or maybe I just completely disagree, and I don't think they're gonna get close to that. Um, what I will probably intentionally do is I kind of just go with the numbers they want, and I say, hey, look, all right, if you're super confident in what you want to do, I am gonna take this meet and use it as a learning experience for you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plan everything out the way that with the numbers that you wanted. I will give you the best shot of hitting those numbers, right? Because you are so sure that you're going to hit them, right? And I can see there's a little bit of ignorance, there's a little bit of just kind of maybe there's some ego or whatever. So I will intentionally like I will enforce or endorse what they want to do like full force, right? Now I'm not recommending people go this route. I'm just saying if someone's like super sure they want to hit it, I'll be like, all right, fine. I'm not gonna stress out over it. I'm not gonna stress out over missed lifts. Again, when I was a younger coach, I was like, oh, everything has to be perfect. But now I'm just like, I want them to have a chance to leave everything else on leave everything on the platform. And if we end up missing lifts, then we miss lifts. But I want them to get to get to where they want to go, and that usually, I mean, usually they're gonna end up going 9 for 9. Like that's how usually it works out. But in this instance, let's say I set them up for their numbers, right? And one of two things are gonna happen. The first option, which is very rare, is I was completely I was like very very like overly conservative, and they like absolutely destroy all the numbers that they wanted to hit, um, which is very rare. I mean, usually if it happens, it'll be like on a third sumo deadlift specifically. Reason being, like let's say they're very slow from the ground. I've seen instances where it's so hard for me to tell, you know, um, how hard the lift actually is because their sticking point is literally initiation, right? That is the hardest part of the lift for them. And once the lift starts moving, everything is just easy from that point, right? I mean, I can look at their body and see how they're struggling, but that's why lifter feedback is very important. I have to talk to, like, I have to, if I have a lifter like this and I don't talk to them continuously over time, then it's going to be very, very, very difficult for me, and I'm better off going versus going off kind of what they're saying, right? So if they're saying it was hard from the floor, but it looked easy to me, then I'm going to kind of go with what they're saying. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? I said saying like 50 times in the last 20 seconds. Anyway, so that's one instance where, maybe I was undershooting them. But usually what happens is we go for their numbers and they hit like they go like 6 for 9, right? Usually they'll hit the first two lifts and then the third one they're so dead set on that number. And what happens is they come back from the meet and they say, Joey, you were right. Like, I don't know why I was overzealous, da 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 da. And then like what happened? We compete again. They listen to me, and then they hit everything, and everything's great. Maybe they go like 8 for 9, 7 for 9, whatever. If you miss, and you have like 5 pounds in the tank, I'm fine with that. I'll take it. You can't really get mad over that. You did everything you could, right? You left it on the platform, and that's really at the end of the day what you want to do. Um, you want to leave the strength that you have on the platform. So if you had no shot of hitting the lift anyway, you can't beat yourself up over that because you capped out. So, but sometimes, if I don't go through that process of like, okay, let's make it a learning experience, they're never gonna get to that point, right? They're gonna feel like I'm holding them back, and they're never gonna get to where they want to go. So I will literally use the meet as a learning experience to sort of unlock potential that's hidden within them. That brings me to the example I'm gonna give you guys, right? So, as you guys know, in my free time from to time, in the wee hours of the light, I like to uh, pull up my what is it called? The Roku. It's like a TV program or whatever, and it's got all your apps on there, your Hulu's, your Netflix, whatever, and watch something to draw inspiration from. And the last show that I wanted to watch was it's called Vinland Saga because it takes place in a real time period in our own history. It's like 1000 AD. It's covering the journey of a young Viking and what happens to his dad and the people he runs into and da 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 da. And across this adventure that he's going on, he's gonna run into a lot of adversity. He actually starts off his journey going through ultimate, just like life-changing adversity. The world that they live in is also very tough, right? It's a lot harder than the world we live in today. It's not safe. People could just take what they want. If you're not strong, you're probably going to run into problems because people could just take from you, right? And across this journey, this kid, he runs into this like general. I'm just gonna for explanation purposes, this general, he is like a general of bandits, right? They're Vikings, so nothing is really organized. They just kind of follow this one leader, and across their journeys, they somehow end up capturing a prince, right? They capture this prince, and the king is searching for his prince, his son, and the general knows that he can use this kid as like a bargaining chip, right? They can return the prince to the king and get a shit ton of money. There's a couple of plot twists involved that I don't really want to get into, but basically, they need to pass this land because the land that they're in is very treacherous. It's very cold. There's wolves and shit. And in order for them to survive the winter, they need to go through like this specific land, and I believe it was Wales. And anyway, the general ends up revealing that he's from Wales, and the guy there kind of like says, "Okay, like you're from here. You have a credible story. I'm gonna let you pass." Um, and basically, the guy from Wales, the general, he says, like, because Wales let us pass, part of a bargaining chip so that they could pass was that when this prince eventually becomes king, I'm going to make sure that he protects this land. This land is not going to be attacked by, wherever, whatever he's the king of, I forget. But basically, that's what he says. Like, hey, I'll guarantee you safety if you let us pass. But the state that the prince is in right now, he's just soft. He's just not meant to be a king. He has no like survival skills. He went through some shit when he was young, so he's very reserved, and he's very like he knows that he has to watch what he says because everything he says can be taken like very politically. Um, so what this general does is he says I need to make this guy king, right? I need to put this guy through some adversity, and I need to make this guy as tough as possible, and I need him to grow up because I need him to be somebody he's not right now. Now this general has a skill to look at people and just kind of see what kind of person they are deep down, right? It's like a weird fucking ability that he has. He just looks at someone and he knows whether they're a good person or not. That's how he was able to survive with his men for over 40 years. Fucking pillaging and just going through all this crazy shit because he has this ability to read situations and make decisions on the fly. I can relate to this because as a coach of many, many people, I have people that work for me, I have people that I take care of. There's a lot of people that count on me for shit. I have to make decisions that impacts their life. It literally impacts, what they're spending time and money and effort into. So I can relate with this guy a lot. You got to sometimes make tough decisions, even if it ends up nothing crazy difficult like what he's going through. But I can relate to this guy, and they end up settling in a little village right for a time, and the caregiver of the prince is like his dad basically. It's not the king obviously who's his dad, but this caregiver is like it means everything to him. It's like the most valuable person in his life. He doesn't even speak to anyone but his caregiver at the time. He literally will not open his mouth. He's like afraid of everyone. He will only speak to his caregiver. That's how dependent he is on this person. So the general in his mind says if I fake his death, I mean, he actually like if I kill this guy and tell the prince, oh man, he died valiantly in battle. Then it's gonna force that prince to grow up and become the person I need him to be. It's gonna force him to grow up and become someone who can survive in this environment, right? So he does the same thing. He does exactly that. They find a way to split them up, so that the caregiver willingly, leave the prince to go check out a situation, and then they just kind of like ambush him, and that death. In that death, over the next couple episodes, you see the transition from the prince going from this like soft, just like not he's just not ready for this world, and he grows into a fucking leader. He becomes someone that I could you see as a king by the end of it. And something so tragic, which is the death of the one person in his life that he cares about, ends up turning him into this fucking like he's like a sick character now. You know what I mean? Um, there's a lot of other shit that happens, but that's kind of how I look at situations with my lifters. In this one particular situation, where you know they they're just not they're not a John Hack mentality. They're not a Russell or he mentality. They're not a fucking killer in quotations. They're not. They don't have that. Just like I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do whatever Joey says and I'm gonna fucking destroy what is in front of me and I'm gonna come out of it no matter what happens. Right? Um, uh, if you guys saw recently, anyone paying attention to powerlifting, John Hack recently took the record for, I believe it was a 90 kg, 198 body weight, all-time world record total. Um, Now, I don't coach John at the time, but I did coach him for many years, and I did see some things and characteristics about him that I think if I could teach that to people, which is very hard because he just came to me like that. He has developed over the years and become just a lot more confident, and just ready to sort of survive in that powerlifting environment, right? But this guy, he never complained when he would get an injury or when something would happen. He would just tell me, we would handle it and move on. 3 weeks out from a world championship, he ends up hurt. He ends up like I think it was 5 weeks out. He got hurt. 3 weeks out, we were healthy. I made a plan and I said we're gonna stick to this plan. And he ends up winning. That pressure is gonna kill a lot of people. It's just gonna break them down. There's one or two people. You're either gonna rise to the occasion, or you're gonna fold under pressure. He did not fold. He rose to the occasion. He got it done. He went on to win many nationals after that, and now he's like, literally, he's taken the title of the best. At the time, it was an 83 kg, and then it was 181 body weight, and now 198 body weight. Obviously, Russ is the at the top right now for fucking 83s. But back in the day, it was John. So he has this mentality that I realize, and I saw this a lot playing sports coming up. If I can give my lifters that don't come from anything that this guy has come from, clearly, just the way that they are, the adversity that they've gone through, and I could just make them like that, they're gonna destroy anything that's in front of them, and they're gonna just go through life and not fucking worry about shit and just handle business, right? And it's a lot easier said than done. It's so hard to do. But over the years, just working with people, I can see them mold and just become sort of like battle hardened, if that makes sense. And then we get to a point where it's like, all right, we got a meet in front of us. We're just gonna handle business. There's no hesitation or anything like that. And a lot of that confidence comes from just having reasonable expectations, or just not even having expectations. Just like take it, like I always say, take what you have. And I understand it's very difficult to have. You need to have a minimal expectation in terms of like the amount of work that you're putting into your training, taking care of yourself, eating right, handling business and shit like that. Those are things that you have to do, right? That is an expectation of yourself that you control 100%. And or for the most part, I mean, some of you guys can't sleep because you got work and shit going on, but I believe that you can pretty much manipulate your life to the point of putting yourself in a position to be somewhat successful for powerlifting, and that is an expectation you have of yourself. And I've seen, people that don't know, they don't know what to expect, or they expect too much, and they go insane. Especially mainly I want to focus on like times in your life when the context of what is happening is just not going to facilitate powerlifting progress, right? So if you're staying up super, super, super late for school because you have like some sort of test, let's say you're trying to diet, maybe you just went. I see this a lot. People get a new significant other and they start doing things out of pocket, right? I'm not talking about Russ. I'm not talking about Russ. I'm just saying in general, I've seen it with a million people. They get a girlfriend, they get a boyfriend, and now they're doing kind of things that are like, this isn't their normal habit. They're spending money on things they shouldn't, and that's stressing them out more. They're going out more. They're just they're losing sleep. Like I can think of so many examples of just people and shit that they've gone through, and you know they don't see what's happening because they lose sight of the end goal, their end powerlifting goal, right? Because they're focused on this person at the moment. And I promise you that's gonna fade. It always does. There's a reason why people say they look like a married couple, because they've gotten past the point of all that. They're now, now you're at the point of tolerating each other, and it becomes a different thing. It becomes a way different thing down the road. So they kind of lose sight of where they want to go. Their expectations are all fucked up because they still want to be operating, at 10,000%. How they were like back in the day when they had nothing to worry about but themselves, right? I'm using the relationship thing as an example because I see it happen a lot of times, and I feel like it's a pretty good example. It doesn't have to be a relationship. It could be anything that you put your energy into that is pulling away from your powerlifting, and that's okay. There's going to be times in your life when you just like powerlifting is not going to be your number one focus, because for these next couple months you need to focus on school or you need to focus on whatever. That's okay. Nobody is gonna tell you like powerlifting needs to be your life, but don't act like you want powerlifting to be your life and you want to be the best at something when your life is literally not going to allow for that to happen, and you are not doing anything that is going to change that. So you're gonna go insane, right? It's a tough pill to swallow. For me personally, it was sort of self-inflicted. 2 years ago, year and a half ago, what was it? It was 2017 Arnold to 2017 Nationals. I lost 30 something pounds, right? And it was like so hard for me to disconnect from being strong in the gym every week to saying like, hey, I'm gonna just fucking pull myself back because right now I need to lose weight. I wanted to lose weight so that I could bulk back up and reach a new level because I just felt like I was spinning my wheels where I was at, and I did that. I would not be squatting 750 like I am right now if I didn't do that. I truly believe. So, I'm looking. I think I can do it one or two more times before I just kind of run out of steam. But I'm gonna do that. I want to do that very soon. I want to squat 800, and then I want to die down and kind of see what happens. But anyway, enough about me. If you don't have reasonable expectations for yourself, if you are expecting of yourself a level of commitment or a level of performance that you simply cannot manifest because you have other things in your life that are stopping you from doing that, then getting sad or being down or understanding that there's a combination of things affecting you, you are going to go insane, right? You're going to go insane. That killer mentality that I talked about, all that adversity that you go through to get there, that when you have reached that level, you don't stress over stuff you can't control at the moment. You can't. It is the craziest thing, and I think sometimes, a lot of times, we get so used to just like PR, 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 or being strong every week or whatever, that we forget there's other things in life that can come up. There's other things in life that can happen, and it's okay if in the moment you need to put your powerlifting goes on the back burner for something that's going to allow you to get ahead in life, and then you can focus even more on powerlifting afterwards. You know what I mean? Um, and I say all this, and I know, like, sometimes you're going to fuck up. You're going to do this like 50,000 times before you get it. You're going to stress over a lift a lot more than you should. You just got to go through it. You just got to go through it. And I've realized that, like, even if I give someone the keys and I write it out for them and I say, do this, and you will get this result. They could do this, and unless they fail doing it, then everything that I give them, it just doesn't stick. I don't know what it is. Some people could just read it, do it, and they're done. Boom. And they never run into this. Other people, they read it, they do it. They can't stop their nerves. Their emotions get in the way. They screw up. And maybe it's like the 10th time that they screw up. They finally get it after that. But if they didn't go through all that, right? If you didn't take away something from them that they needed to lose in order to reach this new sort of mental toughness, then they're not going to get there. We have seen time and time again, pro athletes, anybody in life, if they go through great adversity, they're going to grow and become this like new person that's going to be able to tackle anything. I remember going through football when it was all said and done. I said that was like one of the hardest things. My high school football experience was fucked. It was like, I'm pretty sure we did some illegal shit. Like, it was just like abuse. But I got through it, and I said to myself, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And a lot of people didn't make it through that. A lot of people got seriously hurt. But we did it, and I just felt like I could handle anything in life. Like, literally anything. There was nothing that I felt like I couldn't do after getting through that. So, I want to leave you guys with this. This is a very, very long video. Just enjoy the process. Take it serious. Take it serious, but not to the point where it's going to be a detriment. Don't put unnecessary stress on yourself more than you need to. If you guys see me at Nationals, obviously we're producing tremendous results. Like I said this previously, but we won 84, 83, 93, second in 105, and not to mention everything else. And I was very like relaxed. I was very like kind of loose. Right? In my mind, I'm very focused. I understand what I need to do, but you wouldn't know that by talking to me. You would think, oh, this guy's messing around. This guy's not paying attention. No, I know what's going on. Trust me. My way of just being relaxed, my lifters kind of see that and they say, well, if Joey's chill, I'm going to be chill. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the way I kind of like to do things. I don't like to be so serious to the point where you take the fun out of it. I could keep this video going for another 30 minutes if I keep talking about references to that show, but I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave you guys with this with a quote that I literally just I was looking through people's stories and I saw my man Jesus again coming through with the J. Cole quote. He says, "Some people want to be the greatest, some just want to get in the league." I don't think there's a right or wrong, but don't fucking lie to yourself and act like you want to be the greatest when really deep down you just want to get in the league. With that being said, let me get a Viking mentality. Let me get a Viking mentality in the comments below. If you made it this far, goddamn, 25 minutes in, what you guys are all real ones. Let me get a. You go ahead and drop a real one in the comments below as well, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.